Assalamu alaikum. How are you? We're doing culture, intercultural communication. We define culture that it refers to behavioral characteristic typical of a group. Then we studied the background to culture, that how different countries have different cultures, how do they share some of the characteristics between and among. And then we studied some national cultural constraints or variables, and then we switched on to individual cultural variables. We discuss time and space. Today we are going to discuss another aspect of individual culture that's very important. This is food. It may be a good idea prior to visiting your host country to visit various ethnic restaurants in your home country. Then you'll have an initial idea as to the kinds of food available, how they are served, fixed or eaten. So whenever you are having plans to go to any foreign country, the first thing to know about the food of the country is to go to the ethnic restaurant in your own country. In every country now, as a result of this globalization and because of certain other factors, there are restaurants that serves foods of different countries, different cultures. If you are in America, you can have restaurant serving continental food, serving Chinese food. If you are living in any Asian country, you have the same, you have the restaurant in which Western foods are served. So, starting from this point can be very helpful for you. Because in each culture, people have different eating habits. Their foods are different, though there are some common foods, but normally, especially so far as meats are concerned, some of the countries have a population which is vegetarian, some of the countries have population which is non-vegetarians. Certain type of meat is used in one country is prohibited in another country. Similarly, drinks are different in different countries. Some drinks are prohibited, forbidden in one country, and they are in another country they are used quite freely. So it's very important when you are planning to go to any other country, you must make sure that which drinks are used in that country and which foods are served in that country. Besides, you need to be acquainted with the table manners. Convention of table manners are very important, and you must make yourself aware with these aspects. So make sure to use this guideline. So whenever you are going to any foreign country, see, are you aware of the eating habits of your host? Are there table conventions you should be aware of? Are there foods you might find disagreeable? So this guideline must be taken care of when you are going to any foreign country. So after foods, we have acceptable code of dress. Dress is another important point that needs to be known. In Western countries, people dress up differently. In Asian countries, people dress up differently. In Middle East, people dress up differently. Sometimes they dress up according to their cultures. Sometimes they dress up according to any political philosophy. So it's better to ask about the mode of dress for an occasion in your host country than to risk making an embarrassing mistake. Most American businessmen wear the business suit, whereas women wear dressed or tailored suit. Some British people or gentlemen still use same bowler hat and black suit, and they carry an umbrella to their office. Similarly, in Middle East, the Arabs wear long cotton coats. In Pakistan, we normally wear a sherwani on formal occasions. Niqab is worn. In China, they have a different coat. Mouse suit is worn. So the code of dress is different. So far as the dressing of women folk in a country is concerned, today we need to be aware of these. For example, in America, they are dressed up differently. They used dressed or tailored suit. In Asian country, sometime even in business activity, during business activities, they wear the traditional dress. And similar is the case in the other neighboring countries of Pakistan. So whenever we are going across this cultural barriers, we need to be aware of the dress code that is to be used in the country where we are going. So in this regard, we need to look for certain aspect and follow this guideline. How much skin may be exposed in both an informal and in a formal situation, and what colors are liked in or disliked in any certain culture or country. So this is the fourth thing that we should be careful regarding individual cultural variables. First was space, then was time, then we discuss food, and then we discuss this dress code. The next one is manner. Whenever you are going to another country, it's difficult to make yourself aware of the manners of the people. An easiest way to know the manner is to observe the children of the country, because they reflect manners more than even adults. So look at the children, how they behave. In some country, children are very open. In some country, they are very hesitant to have interaction with the stranger. So knowing manner is also very important. Children shake your hand in Germany, hug you in Italy, and often stay in the background in Pakistan. In fact, the ritual of greeting and the farewell is more formal in many countries with children. Whenever you are going to Germany, avoid giving red roses as gift, and whenever you are going to France or Belgium or some other countries, avoid giving white chrysanthemum, because these colors are not liked in these countries as gift by strangers. So take care of the manners when you are in other countries. Next we have decision making. We have talked a lot about decision making. Decision making is different in different countries. In Japan it's different, in America it's different, in Middle East it's different, in Asian countries it's different. Not only in main cultures it's different, it's also different in subcultures. So the key to this understanding of decision making is your patience, and be very careful when you are thinking in terms of having decision in foreign countries. Americans are accused of being brusque, curt and impolite. They say that they wish to get to the point. Getting down to business is a trait of Western culture. The Germans, Singaporeans, Swiss, Dutch and Scandinavians are similar, quickly getting to the issue. But as we have discussed that decision making is delayed in Japan and in many other countries. So you have to look at the pattern of the country regarding decision making. Whenever you want decision making or you have to make decision, you have to look for the pattern of decision making in your own culture as well as the culture of your audience, your readers. So while you are dealing with decision making, study the guideline. Is the pattern for making decision consistent from one company to another company? Is placement of the major decision maker consistent in a meeting situation? Is an inductive or a deductive pattern of decision making preferred? So these three guidelines must be followed, that whether decision making in a country from one company to another company. Obviously, if we are talking about the quick decision making, prompt decision makings of American, it means that in America, the decision making will be same in one company and other companies. So decision making will help us in the understanding individual cultures. So after decision making, we have to discuss some other aspect of culture, and that is verbal and non-verbal culture. Whenever we talk with the people of other culture, we find that there are some tonal variation in their voice. These tonal variation convey a lot of things. Sometimes they convey proudness, they convey loudness. Be very careful in making judgment. These tonal variations are sometimes part of the language. For example, some dialects of Chinese language have this tonal variation. So just because of the tonal variation, they give meanings to the word. I mean, the word is the same, but just because of the tone, high or low tone, they give different meanings to their same word. Similarly, English is also have some tones. For example, we have intonation in English, the stress pattern, that is the sentence stress pattern. There are in the word stress pattern as well as sentence pattern. So you know that in English, when we utter a word, some part of the word, and if the word is has more than one syllable, has to be stressed, right? So that's why we can say that, for example, contact and contact. So the spelling of the words are the same, but the pronunciation is different, and this pronunciation is just because of the stress, and stress gives loudness to the segment which is pronounced louder. So this aspect, this non-verbal aspect, also needs to be taken care of. It will tell you a lot about the nature of the people you are interacting in other cultures. Beside this verbal cues, we have non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues are different in different cultures. For example, in one culture, this thumb up sign is a positive sign, but in some part of Italy, this may be a negative sign. Similarly, people talking to other make certain facial expression. These facial expressions give different meanings in different cultures. When you say yes, sometimes you move your head in this position, and sometimes you move your head in this position. So this varies from culture to culture. Saying yes, sometimes some people in some cultures move their head from right to left or left to right, and in some culture they may move their head up to down and down to up. So you have to look at these aspects of the culture, these non-verbal aspects of the culture. If you find that in some meeting, a Japanese is sitting very seriously, it doesn't mean that he has some problem with you. He may be thinking, he basically does not want his inner feeling to make public. So it's important that you must be aware of these non-verbal cues. You have to look at the verbal cues of your culture, your subculture, and the verbal cues of the other culture. This is a very important aspect. So we have discussed culture in different aspects. We have discussed background of culture. We have discussed national cultural variables. We have discussed individual cultural variables, and we have discussed verbal and non-verbal cultural variables. These constraints or these variables help us in understanding culture of our own country and culture of other countries. This helps us in understanding subculture of our countries and also of other countries. In present day's scenario, we cannot help knowing other cultures. We not only need to know these cultural variables ourselves, but also we need to train and educate our workforce of all these cultural differences, because they also need to know they are our helper and they are our colleagues, they are all the time working with us. So we need to educate the people in our organization of these cultural differences. So here we would like to sum up the whole topic on culture, and we will suggest some main things, main points that you must keep in mind when you are dealing with other culture. And these cultures concern you as well as your whole workforce. So look at these culture and understand them very well. Inculcate these cultures, and then whenever you are communicating with other cultures, keep this guideline in mind. Study your own culture, learn about other cultures through books, articles, videos, and other resources. Encourage employees to discuss their cultural customs. Avoid being judgmental. Create a formal forum to teach employees about the customers of all culture represented in the firm's Readers Forum. This is the first thing that you take care of. You have to know culture through books, articles, and other resources, and to train your workforce. You have to create some formal forum for this, in which you could train your workforce of the culture of your customers, the people you are going to interact with. So keep this fact in mind, keep these points in your mind, that you have to know about the culture of your customers, of your reader, recipients, or the people you are interacting with, and to know the culture. There are a lot of books in the market. You can go on to any site. There are a lot of sites. Right? This is not something difficult. And you have to train people by creating some formal forum. So train your workforce about different cultures of your customer. Second thing in this regard is verbal and non-verbal communication. Improve oral and written communications. Define the terms people need to know on the job. Emphasize major points with repetition and recap. Use familiar words whenever possible. Be concise. Don't cover too much information at one time. Adjust your message to employees' educational level. Be specific, explicit, using descriptive word, exact measurements and examples when possible. So you have to be careful when you are engage in written communication. You have to follow all those principles of business communication, to be precise, to be concise, to be considerate, using simple words, descriptive words, simple sentences, all those guidelines that were discussed when we were discussing principles of communication. So, dealing with other cultures, these are also very important. Verbal and non-verbal communication demonstrate and encourage the right way to complete a task, use a tool, and so on. Reduce language barriers, train managers in the language of their employees, train employees in the language of most customer and of most people in the company. Ask bilingual employees to serve as translators, print important health and safety instruction in as many languages as possible. So these guidelines can be very helpful in organization in which the workforce belongs to different cultures. For example, we know that in Western countries, in America, there are a lot of institutions, organizations where people are working, coming from different countries of the world, belonging to different cultures. So for managers of these firms should take care of these points, because they can bring harmony in their organization by taking care of these things, by training their workforce of all these things, by telling them that how they can create harmony into the organization and how they can achieve overall organizational objectives. Beside verbal, we also need to know non-verbal aspects in this regard. So research the non-verbal reactions of other cultures, then be alert to facial expression and other non-verbal signs that indicates confusion or embarrassment. Probe for comprehension, encourage employees to ask questions in private and in writing. Observe how employees use the information you have provided and review anything that is misunderstood. So, again, this is to non-verbal. Non-verbal communication is also as important as verbal communication. And when you are interacting with people belonging to different cultures, you need verbal communication as well as non-verbal communication. So take care of these points when you are dealing with people coming from different cultures. We have discussed some guidelines regarding interacting positively with people of different culture, whether they are gathered or assembled at one workplace, or you are interacting with people across the national borders. These points and these things will certainly help you in understanding other people, and also will help you in bringing yourself round, in getting your message across. So now on, whenever you think of going abroad or you think of meeting people who have come from other cultures, take care of these points and this whole discussion that we have made about cultural differences. I'm sure that by now you have understood that what is culture, what are national cultural variables, what are individual cultural variables, what you have to do regarding verbal communication with other culture, and what you will have to do regarding non-verbal communication with the people of other countries. So here I want you to do some exercise. For example, in the beginning of this topic, culture, I told you to pick up or choose any country and then to know about its religion, its language, its culture, its mode of transportation and lifestyle of the people. So go back to that, and keeping all those points in your mind, choose any country and then make a research of all those aspects of those points, and then see that how better you understand another culture. This will certainly give you an immense understanding of another culture, and you will find it quite interesting as well, because you will know that how you can know the people living in any other countries. Today things are very easy. You can go to any good bookstall and find books on any culture or on any country, and you can now have access to computer, and you can go on to any website belonging to any certain culture, and you can know a lot. So today's things are very easy. We are living in an era in which we have access to all those things which used to be quite impossible or very difficult in the past. So I want you to do some exercise of this sort, and you may be asked some question, or you may find any question regarding these cultural variables on your question paper. So be prepared to answer these questions, and it's better that if you study 2-3 countries, obviously you pick up one country from Asia, one country from Europe, and one country from Middle East, and similarly study America. These things will help you in understanding different culture, and you will feel that you are more confident in doing your own job. So with this we finish this topic on culture. We switch on to the next topic, and that is preparing effective business messages. So we are again back to business messages after the principles of communication. Effective business messages. What do we mean by effective business messages? If I have to answer this question, I would say that effective business messages are those which are tailored to the needs of readers and to their expectations. As we have discussed this thing a lot of time, that those messages are only good messages which are reader oriented. Maybe we want our benefit, but we have to get it through our reader. So all the messages, oral and written messages, have to be chalked out, designed from the reader's point of view. So we have to see that how we can prepare effective business messages. Business messages can be of a lot of types. Sometimes we have to inquire about a thing, we have to make request, we have to answer to an inquiry, we have to answer to a request, we have to refuse a request, decline a request, we have to place an order, we also have to acknowledge an order, and sometimes we refuse an order. So after orders are placed, acknowledged, there may be some misunderstanding, so we have to write complaint letters. Complaint letters needs to be answered. So their answer is adjustment letter. Adjustment letter, when we feel that we as seller are at fault, and we may feel that it's the buyer who is at fault, and sometimes we come to the conclusion that neither we nor the buyer is at fault, it's somebody else, the third party. the cargo or any trucking agency or railways, they are at fault. So we have to write message, and there are a lot of occasions that ask us to write messages. So whenever we have to write a message, we have to take care of few things. For example, very first thing is, what is the purpose of our message? Number two, who are going to be our audience, or who is going to be our audience? So the second thing is, first thing is purpose, second thing is audience. The third thing is, we have to think of ideas. Whenever we are going to write, we are flooded with ideas, or sometimes it happens that we don't have an idea. So in both the cases, we need to choose ideas, select ideas that are appropriate to the occasion. So then we have to come to fourth thing, and that is, we have to make a research about the main message. And then comes the fifth stage, in which we organize our messages. So if we enumerate them, we can say all these points in this way, that the first thing is to define the purpose of the message. The second thing is to analyze your audience, readers or listeners. Third thing is choose the ideas to include. Fourth thing is collect all the facts to back up these ideas. And the fifth thing is organize your message. So these are 5 points which must be taken care of. It must be kept in mind when we are writing any business message. You know that it's the most sensitive stage of this whole process. This is the basically thing that we are here for, to know, to learn. So this thing demands concentration. We need to have a new set of habits. We have discussed different qualities of communication. We have discussed different channels, how they work, and a lot of other things. But all those things were basically discussed for this purpose, for writing messages. So let's see that how do we write good messages. We begin with the purpose. So the first thing is to define purpose. Why we are writing? Are we writing for placing some order or refusing some order? Why we are writing? So we need to define the purpose of the message. We can say that there are 2 types of purposes. One is general purpose and the other is specific purpose. So far as the general purpose is concerned, it can be to inform, to persuade, to collaborate with the reader. So whenever we are going to write any message, these things are always at the back of our mind. We want to inform. You want to inform. So you have some information and simply you want to pass on that information to your reader, to your listeners. Whenever you are at this stage, you have a control on the information. You have less interaction with your reader. You demand less interaction because you have to inform them, and it's on them to receive that information or to reject that information. So you are in more control of imparting information, and you require less interaction from your reader. But when you want to write messages in which you want to persuade people, in that case, you do want to have a little bit of the interaction, more interaction than you required in when you wanted to inform them, and you have little less control. You have to chalk out your message from your reader's point of view, because you want the interaction. But when we come to the third thing, to collaborate with your reader, with your listener, you need a lot of interaction from your readers, from your listener. So you have less control. You have to write the whole message from the reader's point of view. You have to stimulate the reader to some action or to whatever the desired result you want to accomplish, to achieve. Beside this, in general purpose, we have another very important thing, and that is creating goodwill. The main purpose of your letter may be anything, but the general purpose is to have goodwill, to create goodwill with your reader. So, when you are going to write messages, you got to take care of this aspect, that you must establish goodwill with your reader. And remember that you have to ponder over this point, whether you are going to inform, or you are going to persuade, or you are going to collaborate with your reader or with your listener. Then we come to the specific purpose. What do we mean by specific purpose? Specific purpose is the purpose for which you are going to write letter. For example, as I just said, do you want to seek some information or answer some inquiry? Are you going to write a letter of collection in reminder stage, in appeal stage, or in the last stage, when you are threatening your reader of some legal action, or you are writing any sales letter or a job application? So you need to know the specific purpose of your letter. So you need to know that, is your purpose realistic? This is very important. Sometimes it happens that you want something that is not possible because of certain reason. Suppose in collection stage, you need to give some time to your reader, and there is still the second stage in between the first and the third. But instead of the second stage, you write a letter of third stage. So this is not a realistic approach. Before you write letters, your messages, look whether they are realistic, whether they are demanding something not possible by the reader. You have gone into contract and there is some date, some time in the completion of the contract, and you want some immediate results. So look for the realistic purpose of your messages. Second thing in this regard is it the right time? Maybe you want to write some message to some firm and they are in the process of shifting, and that's not the right time. Sometimes it happens that you feel that you are not the right person to send a message. Maybe if you send a message signed by or message written by your boss is a better message. As we in correction series, we normally do that the final letter should be signed or written by some higher authority. So this point is important in knowing the specific purpose. So another thing that is important is your purpose acceptable to your organization. Sometimes you are in some hurry and you want some results, but look that your message is acceptable to the goals or overall goals of the organization or not. Knowing these specific purposes is very important. Whenever you have to write a letter, go through these points, see that what's your general purpose. Is it to inform? Is it to persuade? Is it to collaborate with some reader or some listener? And is there goodwill being created by the letter? And then go for your specific purpose. What's the specific purpose? And is it a realistic one? Is it the time appropriate? Is it acceptable to the overall objectives of the organization? So planning messages, preparing for effective messages, the first most important thing is to know the purpose of your message or to define the purpose of your message. Second thing in this regard is your audience. Audience is the receiver of your message or the listener of your message. Your audience can be your own colleagues, your audience can be your customers, your audience can be public, your audience can be stakeholders, and your audience can be the government. And so you have to take care of this aspect, because knowing your audience is very important. Obviously you must have some purpose. Unless there is a purpose, you need not write anything. But after having a purpose, the next important thing is knowing your audience. Who is going to be your audience? You need to know a lot. Who are they? Your own colleague, men and women, seniors or juniors, your superiors or subordinates. What are their viewpoints? What is their qualification? What is their academic organizational position? How do they react to the messages, the type of messages you are writing? So you need to know a lot. You need to make a profile of your audience. Remember that a lot of time we fail to achieve our results through our written communication or in our oral communication. And the failure is just because our inability to understand our audience. It's not the matter, it's not the purpose, it's just the audience. Coming to the level of the audience, that's the only important thing in getting our desired result. If we are able to come down to the level of our audience, how do they think? How are they going to react to our messages? These things will help us in tailoring our messages to our readers' needs, to our readers' expectations, to our audience needs, to our audience expectations. So be very careful when you are coming to this point, that who is going to be your audience. Simple, if you are an engineer, and you are talking to or you are writing to people who are out of your field, you are not going to use the jargon of your field. Similarly, if you are a doctor, you are talking to your professionals, colleagues, you are using terminology of your jargon of your field. But if you are talking to the public, to the patients, you are using little technology, jargon of your field, no terminology of your field. So knowing your audience is very important. So follow this guideline. Ask yourself some key question about your audience. Who are they? Who are your audience? Inside your organization or outside your organization? People of your field or some simple public? So who are they? What is their probable reaction to your message? Picture. We discussed that good communicator create a picture of the mind, meeting of the mind. So what is their probable reaction to your message is very important. You can anticipate this just by thinking of them, just by having a mind meeting with them, that how they are going to react to your messages. Then how much do they already know about the subject? Somebody, we know that some matter is very well known to the reader of a message. Somebody we know, they know little. So this third point is also very important. We must be aware of this fact that how much they know and how much they do not know. So if we know this, we are going to minimize the impact of the information. Next to it is, what is their relationship to you? I mean, your relationship with your reader, your listener is another important point. If they are junior to you in status or they are subordinate, you are going to use different type of language with them. You are going to devise your message in a different way. But if they are your superiors, the tone is going to be very formal. So these points need to be discussed. So make a audience profile. Who is your primary audience? Sometimes it happens that we are talking or we are writing to people who are more in number. For example, we are going to talk to a gathering. I mean, some people are of importance and others are not. Maybe some of the person from the lower rank be of an importance. So we need to know how big is your audience, the number of audience, because it will determine the formality of the message. If we are writing to more than 3-4 people, the nature of the message is going to be formal. If it is to the 2-3 people, it may be a little informal. So number of audience is also another important factor. The next one is, what is your audience composition? What are they made up of? So do they belong to same status or they belong to different status? So what is your audience level of understanding? That is another important point. What is their level of understanding? That always people have different level. For example, if we are invited to a convocation in an institution, obviously there are people belonging to different understanding level. There are teachers, there are some professional, and there are students. So similar situation may take place in some organization, that people in that organization belong to different levels of understanding. So this also needs to be taken care of. And last one is, what is your readers or listeners' probable reaction? How do they are going to make a reaction to your message? So this is also very important. So we are discussing some methods to prepare effective business messages. And to prepare effective business messages, we need to follow certain guidelines. The first thing is to be well aware of the purpose of our message, and the second thing is to know the audience, who are going to be our audience. There are 3 other points that we will discuss in the next lecture. I hope that from today's discussion you must have understood that how you can effectively prepare your business messages, because our ultimate objective is to be able to prepare business messages, both written and oral. So with this, I would like to finish today's lecture and say you Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.